All right, so once you log into the system, you're going to go up to select your course, and you're going to look for LDT 566. Once you pick that, you'll see that you'll be there. You've already been assigned into teams, and you can go ahead and log on. Now, you can log in by clicking on the attend. If you log into attend, that's where you're going to be doing your chat. Okay. You also can look at the information, but you don't have to worry too much about that because I'll show you that's something that will show up after you finish your discussion. So let me show you what your discussion will look like by looking at something that my students set up when they were originally testing the system. So let me log into this course with my students and make sure that I have the right team. Let me see. Yep, okay, that's them. Okay, so if you go to attend, you'll see that that's where the chat's going to take place. Now, you're going to scroll down and, that's where your discussion is going to happen. Up here, please notice that we have some important troubleshooting things. Make sure that you're using Chrome. Make sure that you close any other Create browser session or tabs, so you can only have one tab with the Create session in it. If something still goes wrong, you can always refresh the chat room button below. And what that's going to do is just make sure to recall it. And that is right below it. You can also, right there, you can also log out of the web access. So in order to use the system, you have to log into Penn State Web Access. But Penn State Web Access only allows you to be logged in for a certain amount of time. So after a certain amount of time, it automatically logs you out. And so some people experience this, unfortunately, right in the middle of their discussion. So I always tell people before your discussion, log out of the Penn State Web Access and then log back in. That should solve it. And if it doesn't, you can just reload the entire page at the top of your browser. So now let me just get rid of this troubleshooting stuff, which you can do too. And then you can, take a look at the chat. So let me sort of show you what happens, once you, log in, say hello, whatever. Okay, when you log in, you're going to start off in plan. Okay, notice that there's all these tabs up here. But when you click on plan, that is where you can put in, the time and date of your discussion. So just go ahead and fill that out, and then you can go ahead and let us know when you will be meeting. Now, and it's important to do this because what this will do is alert the people over at TLT to let them know when you're going to be doing the discussion. Okay, so once your discussion is set, it should be about 3 hours. You are going to set your objectives, but again, not as important in the first discussion as the second. And you're going to go over to chat. This is the tab you're going to be in when you meet with your group and have your discussion. Okay, all the instructions that you're going to need are going to be here. And it'll help you to go through everything that you're going to have with you and how to go through each step of the discussion. Okay, now when you finish your discussion, you can go ahead and go to the Reflect tab. In the Reflect tab is where we try and help to support sort of your understanding of what collaborative processes entail, right? And it'll have all the instructions to help you go through this step by step. I encourage you to read it beforehand. But basically down here are going to be the 6 items, okay? When you click on an item, you're going to scroll all the way down and you will see the description of what that is, why it's important, and directions, okay? And basically what you're going to be doing is assessing the quality of your discussion based on these items. And you'll see that if you click on one of the categories, it'll give you a more detailed definition of what that means. And then you're going to go through the discussion to try and figure that out. So if I'm looking at verbal equity, I'm going to be like, is everybody talking? Like, how often? Looking at the level of contributions, because it's not just whether everybody has a turn, but also like how big are the contributions that they're giving. So if I was to assess this, I would probably go down and see what it says. And I don't think it's perfectly equitable because two people were kind of giving most of the ideas. So I'd probably go with this one, which is 4. Okay. And so I would click on 4. That's what's going to make the most sense. And then I'm going to justify it. Now, I'm doing this quickly because I'm just trying to give you an example, but you should definitely take your time and do this assessment more rigorously. And so I'm going to put here, 2 speakers were more prominent than other. Of course, you can be more detailed. You can, show as much evidence you can. The better the evidence, the better the chances that you're going to accurately assess your team. Okay, so I'll put that there in my evidence, and then if you go all the way back up, you'll see that the system has a little check mark there, right, for rating and evidence, and then I can move on to the next one. So if I'm looking at exploration of different perspectives, again, it's going to tell you what it is and why it's important. And then if I click on different ones, it will tell me exactly what I'm showing, what I should be looking at in the conversation, right? So multiple examples or different people point out problems. And then you're going to scroll and see what is needed for a 5, what is needed for a 4, what is needed for a 3, and you're going to go back up into your discussion and try and figure out what that is. All right, now once you finish all of your ratings, I mean, I can't do it because I'm an observer, but once you're done, you're going to go up to the Monitor tab. And what this is going to do is give you a visual representation of your entire team score. It has basically what the average was of all of the people. So this says an average of 0.67. It gives me a standard deviation, and it gives me a count, how many people submitted the scores. And then you can pick, by looking at this, you guys will all be discussing again at this point. So the previous one you should have been doing individually without discussing. This one you're all talking about it. And you're talking about your scores and why you scored what you did and what evidence you used so that you can pick what you think your strength is and what your weakness is. This selection is really important because it basically tells the system what type of advice to give you. So again, it's important to be as critical as possible of your quality so that you can get the best advice. Once that's done, you're going to revise. And what this is going to do is based upon what you said your biggest weakness is, it gives you advice for improving. And so here they thought their biggest weakness was advice for improving exploration of different perspectives. Okay. And so what you're going to do here is you're going to be looking at the overall goal and the different objectives that the system is trying to give you. And this is a little bit interactive. So you can click on the objective and you'll see that there's 2 primary problems. If you click on these problems, they're going to open up 2. And in there's actually specific strategies that you can use to resolve the problem. And so you can go ahead as a team and decide what you think the problem is and then select the best strategy. Once you select that strategy and you click on that strategy as well, it's going to give you some sort of specific, almost like quotes and prompts so that you really understand what it would mean to implement that strategy. Okay, so you can go ahead and play with that. It's interactive, but as a team, you do need to come to some sort of consensus as to which strategy you want to use, and you're going to write it down here. Now, I can't remember if you can copy and paste. No, you can't. Okay, so I think this was a decision that we made because instead of copying and paste it, it pushes you to really think about the different strategies by typing it in. So you will have to type in which strategy or which, with multiple strategies you're going to use. Again, only one person is going to be able to type this in, and the last person that does it is what the system will keep. So, just make sure you know who's doing that, because once you record that, if you go back into the course overview, I don't know if you remember at the beginning I said, oh, that there's information here. Well, that's the information you can see sort of up front. It'll tell you what is sort of the major area of weakness and what you've decided to do to try to improve for next time. Okay, so I mean, that's basically it in terms of a rundown in the system. I would encourage you to go ahead and to try going into the system, playing with the thing. Just make sure you don't assess any of the items yet, and that you can have access. Make sure that you have Google Chrome, and if you have any issues or problems, just feel free to contact me and let me know. Okay? All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.